A very pleasant afternoon to our heartful chief guests, faculty members, research scholars, and students. I'm Muskan, pursuing third year Bachelor's of Commerce, Shift 1. Guru Shri Shantivijai Jain College for Women, Department of Commerce, Shift 1, and Internal Quality Assurance Cell IQAC in association with Young Indians YI and Young Upcoming Versatile Authors UA organizes 3 days international conference on the theme Innovative Drive on Digital Transformation and Financial Development in Global Market. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. On behalf of our college, I would like to welcome you all the technical session 2 titled Role of Digital Marketing Reshaping the Corporate Sector. We would like to extend a warm welcome to our chairperson, Shri Rishidev Ratan sir, Director and CEO of Content T Labs, Founder and CEO of Onru Private Limited, Co-Chair Branding Young Indians Chapter Chennai. A day without prayer is a day without blessing, and a life without prayer is a life without power. True to this, let us seek the Almighty's blessing before commencing the session. May I request Dr. Indupriya Madam, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to render a gracious welcome to our chairperson and to all the spectators. Over to you, Madam.
Very good morning to our distinguished chief guest, all the faculty members, and my fellow students. Guru Shri Shantivijai Jain College for Women deems it as a privilege in organizing 3 days virtual international conference on the theme Innovative Drive on Digital Transformation and Financial Development and in Global Market. It's a day two session in role of digital marketing in reshaping the corporate sector. It's my immense pleasure to welcome Shri Rishidev Ratanji, Director and CEO of Content 10T Labs, founder and CEO of Onru Private Limited. He has bagged gold medal and best outgoing student award from Great Lakes, Gurugram. His professional objective is to help people move from institution backed decision making to data driven decision making in their organization and lives. He focuses on innovation, adaptability, communication, and visualization to achieve goals. We welcome you, sir. First of all,
Thank you.
I express my gratitude to our management. I welcome our Honorable Secretary and Correspondent, Dr. Gautam P. Vaid, and I welcome our ever enthusiastic and beloved principal, Dr. M.K. Malati ma'am. I would like to welcome Dr. R. Gayatri, Head, Department of Commerce, Shift 1, and all the faculty members and the fellow students for this wonderful session. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this introduction.
Thank you, madam. And now it's time for us to acquire knowledge on digital marketing in reshaping the corporate sector. May I take the pleasure of requesting our chairperson, GSS Jain College for Women, deems it as an honor to felicitate our guest with the memento of appreciation. And now it's time for us to acquire knowledge on digital marketing in reshaping the corporate sector. May I take the pleasure of requesting our chairperson, Shri Rishidev Ratan sir, to take over the session. Over to you, sir.
A very good morning, guys. I hope everyone can hear me. Before we begin, I'd really like to thank GSS Jain College for giving me this opportunity to talk on this topic. It's a very thought through, uh, a very challenged and very thought through topic that even the corporate sector has been debating about it, and not many people have been able to really understand how digital marketing has played a huge role in reshaping the business world, especially post the pandemic. So thank you guys for this opportunity. Also, thanks to Muskan for organizing and coordinating with me. Thank you, Muskan. So let us begin. So, like I said before, this topic has been rather than the topic, right? The concept, the actual real world application, and trying to understand how digital marketing has reshaped the workings, the thinking, the strategy in the corporate sector is something that I personally have been part of, because I was working for a digital marketing agency for the last before during the acquisition of my previous company. I was during my first startup in Ondur Private Limited, when I was doing digital marketing analytics for most of the companies. So this is a huge challenge that is faced by most people. So, uh, before we move to try and understand how and when digital marketing boomed and then had a huge impact in transforming the business world, we need to understand that there are mainly two main variables in trying to in this area. The first is the technology side of it, the second is the consumer side of it. These are the two main variables that have actually helped transform and boost the digital marketing, the industry. But and then there was this external element that called the pandemic that then came in, that completely accelerated most of it. So before we move, I want to then talk about what are the 5 Ds. So a lot of paper has been written on this. So I want to discuss what are the 5 Ds of digital marketing that have helped transform the business sector. So the first is digital platforms. The second is digital data. The third is digital experience. The fourth is digital devices, and the last is digital media. Now, the reason why most companies are unable to get it right is that they don't they work on only a few areas of this. So instead of working on all of the 5 digital aspects of to achieve this transformation, they only work on a few. And there is a misnomer saying that everyone is now part of the digital marketing world. It's mostly because there is a huge FOMO, right? There's a fear of missing out of most businesses, that they say, hey, I want to advertise on Instagram, I want to advertise on Facebook, I want to advertise on LinkedIn, I want to do LinkedIn marketing, I want to have a Twitter strategy. So there's like a huge fear that my competitors are doing it, therefore I also need to do it, and then they jump in so quickly without realizing that without uh, attacking each of these 5 Ds, right? The platforms, data, experience, devices, and media, it is most likely not going to be as successful as you thought. So it is actually a way where the technology and the human come together to actually create this transformation. So let's walk through what all of them are in detail so that we get a better understanding of it. So in uh, uh, in digital platforms, it's very simple. What I'm going to tell you is not something that is extremely complicated. It is not something that you guys already don't know, but it is a way to structure the thinking. It is a way to bring together pieces of puzzles so that you guys understand what the most successful companies are doing right, and where the others are lagging behind, and what is the gap that goes, and why that transformation is not actually happening, before we actually go in detail about the role of how digital marketing has transformed the business world. So the first is digital platforms. So any platform that can be Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat. You have an array of new and upcoming social media applications that are gaining a lot of traction. There are also uh, the other huge number of gaming platforms, OTT platforms, video platforms that are coming. So all of them fall under the umbrella of platforms. The second is digital data. So digital data is anything to do with any information that is collected on how the customer is interacting and shows intent on your platform. Now, the most important part of it is, and that's why I've centered it, is digital experience. Now, I'm in the marketing world, right? Due to the high number of competitors that are now available for any field, any product, any service you take in today's world, there is a huge number of competitors in every field. Whether you take saloons, or you take movie theaters, or even if you take something like a phone, a laptop, a car, even from a small service to a very, very expensive product or a service by itself, there are so many competitors. So over the last decade and a half, the most successful brands that have been able to continuously survive in such a changing and volatile market have focused on customer experiences. They have, when you go to let's say you go to a good salon to cut your hair or get a spa or something like that, right? When you go there, you as a customer are more focused on the experience that you derive. Is the air conditioning on? Is the person being nice to you? Are they using new equipment? Is the place dirty? The service as such, as the haircutting or the spa, actually goes down to the second step. The first thing that subconsciously that you decide is that if this place is not clean, if this place does not have the necessary air conditioning, if this place does not have clean surroundings and respectable staff and a good billing counter that provides an easy billing experience, I am not going to come to this place again, even if they have top-notch people who provide the best of services. So now the same concept has now to be transformed to the digital space. How is it that businesses, if they truly want to transform their business or their industry or their customer experience, how is it that they're going to elevate this experience for the consumer who's now in their digital space? It can be on their website, it can be on a mobile application, it can be even in the in-store kiosk, right? So if any of you have gone to like a Decathlon, or there are some bookstores in Chennai as well, where you're allowed to, or even in Satyam Cinemas or PVR, you can purchase a ticket on from a counter, from a digital counter. So how is that experience being elevated by the business for the consumer? So that is very important. The fourth is digital devices. So any physical device that you use to access a digital platform. So your tablets, your smartphones, your a lot of gaming devices also allow browsing over the last decade. Your desktops, your tabs, so all of them. So that fall under the digital devices. And the last is the digital media. The digital media is all the free, the paid, the collaboration. How are you the medium through which you reach your customers? What are the sort of advertisements that you use? How are you? Is it a blog that you're writing to reach the so that you can reach the content? Have you run out? Have you put out an advertisement? So that is the digital media. Now, what most companies fail to understand is that all five of this need to come together for the business to be able to transform the customer experience. And therefore, by elevating the customer experience is when that digital marketing then elevates and transforms the business landscape. Because only when the change happens for the customer and the way you collect data and the way you provide the experience, there is a true transformation in the business landscape. Otherwise, businesses will still think, you know what, I am not able to make an impact to my customer, therefore I am still going to work in the archaic way that I'm still going to work. I recently worked with a cement and a steel distributor. So even they have completely accepted the digital space to to connect with their vendors, to connect with the more than 300 to 400 stores that they distribute to the local vendors, right? So cement and steel shops are not the largest, are not the brightest, don't have the most fanciest stores. They are probably the corner store, probably situated outside the city. Probably just have a banner that says, you know, the name of the person, and then say cement stores, or distribution for or steel and cement uh, vendor. So, and they're not the most cleanest of spaces. Even a person who cannot use a mobile phone, a touchscreen mobile phone, was able, the cement and steel distributor was able to give them a digital experience, was able to capture them into the digital space. And because he was able to touch point on all of them, he knew on what platforms they were on. Not all your customers, not all your vendors are going to be on all the platforms, right? So he knew exactly which platforms they were. He was collecting the data. I was the one who crunched the data and gave them the reports. He was very focused on giving them a digital experience, because he realized that if he cannot give them the experience that they wanted, that convenience, that ease of using their platform, then these vendors are the least likely people to stick on to a digital thing. Even if we go on to Instagram, millennials and the up and coming generation, if we go to Instagram and if we find that the app doesn't work, we may give the app another chance. We may log in, log out, we may try to, because we are so fixated on the app that we're willing to give the app multiple chances for failure. But these vendors are not going to give the platform multiple chances of failure. So they were very focused on giving a high quality digital experience to these vendors. They knew exactly on what devices these people were, so made sure that the app was always working well on that local 8,000 7,000 rupees touch phone. And he knew how to reach out to more vendors. He knew what sort of advertisements to run, what sort of paid and free channels to target, to get more and more vendors to join his program. So that is the true area of success. Now, the most times businesses only focus on platforms, devices, and media. They do not focus on data and experience. And that is why. So the least focused is digital data and digital experience. And the most focused is digital platforms, digital devices, and digital media. And because of not focusing on data and experience, there is a huge lag, or I would say a momentum that they miss in trying to quickly help, you know, or allow digital marketing to transform their business landscape. So instead of saying how has digital marketing transformed the corporate sector, I think it would be better if we broke down that corporate sector into different industries and say how is digital marketing transforming each of those corporate sectors, because it has now, in through my experience, it has even been able to capture the steel and the cement industry through the one of the clients that I work for. So only if you are able to achieve all five, even for your college, right? Even for like a GSS college, if for example they want to target more students, they want to increase the number of attendance, sorry, applications that they get for their candidates that they get for their applications every year. So the objective will be to focus on all. Most times, out of uh, you know uh, maybe everybody is caught up in day-to-day operations. Most times businesses only focus on devices, media and platforms. They don't focus on data and digital experience, which actually causes a sort of a bad experience, a bad taste in the mouth for the consumer, the person who's targeted, and therefore that particular industry is not being able to transform. So how do we then, what are the steps to digitize the marketing effort? So most brands already have a very, very good experience in tackling the below the line, which is all your hard, like newspapers and hoardings and putting ads, radio ads and all that. But how are they going to help digitize the uh, above the line? That is anything to do with digital, any form of marketing that you cannot touch but only feel. First, so this is, I've taken something from McKinsey and Company. So the first is the innermost cell, the innermost triangle that I'm showing, which is governance and processes. So the most important thing that the business has to understand is how do I put a process and governance in that completely captures my one working day in a way that any situation that arises in case of an emergency is correctly captured. So what if, let's take an example. I think if you work through an example, it will work well. Let's take a college that is trying to put out a marketing effort to capture more applications for their incoming academic year. So what are the governance and process are there? Is there somebody to design? Is there somebody write the content? What happens if the designer is on holiday? What happens if the content writer is on holiday? What happens if the senior leadership team of the college is unable to quality check the creatives that go out, or the content that goes out, or the blogs that go out, or the advertisement that go out? So not only should processes be there in terms of people and the technology, but also in case of emergency, what do you guys do? What do we then do to plug the gap? So that also has to be there in the process. And how much dependency is there on one particular employee? What if there are 5 content writers to help write the blogs and the content and the taglines and the description, but there is only one graphic designer? So that means the dependency on the graphic designer to turn up for work every day is extremely high. So is there something like that? What is the internal and external support that you're getting? So even for today's session, right? What if one of the college students was trying to reach out to me, but I was unable to get back to them on time most of the days? So then there is an external dependency for this session to happen on me, on the speaker coming to the session, and being part of the coordination efforts and then turning up for the event. So there's an external dependency on me. So how well process driven are you? Do you have backups for most of the information that is there? So that is one of the major steps for getting the marketing efforts to be digitized. The second is we are going to look at the bottommost part of the triangle, which is the key performance indicator. So most likely, this is very simple. It's not a very complicated. Are you guys targeting the right metric for success? So if a college is sending out applications to students, what is the college defining as a success metric? Is it, let's say they're sending out mails to prospective students. So what is the success metric? Is the success metric number of mail opens? Is the success metric number of link clicks? Is the success metric, when I mean link links, I mean apply now button on the mail. Is the success metric number of students who fill in the application form? Is the success metric number of calls that the students make inquiring about the course and the college to via telephone or via mail? So each business has a different success metric, and you need to continuously track those success metrics and keep changing them based on the feedback that you receive. So that is important. And most times businesses tend to track random metrics. Like I've seen most digital marketing agencies give, when we get reports from them for, whatever thing, they say impressions. So I always tell them, I do not care about impressions as a metric for this particular advertisement that we ran. It is not important. So it is important that not only are you tracking the right metric, but it's also important that you define what is success for you, and then you track that as a metric. The next that we're going to focus on is customer insights, which is on the leftmost part of the triangle. Customer insights is very easy. You have to be able to track the what, the how, the why, the who, and the when of customer insights. What is the customer doing in your website? How did he enter the website? How did he leave the website? How did he enter into the product page, and so on? Why is he here? Did he click on an advertisement? Is he having an inherent need to come to your, like a grocery store? People do not need to click on an advertisement. They come there regularly because they need to buy groceries. But maybe a diamond a diamond merchant, or a car seller, or maybe some accessories for earrings, or anything that is considered luxury, right, or not a necessity. Why are they coming there? Are they coming there to buy for themselves? Are they coming there to buy a gift for somebody? So why are they coming there is also a very important metric. And who is coming there? Who is mostly to do with demographics? Is it a man or a woman? Is there an older person? What generation do they fall to? And when is also very important, because are they coming to your are they coming to your digital space early in the morning, mid morning, late afternoon, late evening? Are they coming to your site while they are in bed and simply browsing? So you need to understand when they're coming as well. So that is the customer insights that you need to capture. And the most important is what we have on the right side of the triangle is the customer experience. Now the customer experience is extremely important, because like I said, the success that the brands that have been most successful in the digital space are those who have managed to bring that experience from an offline to an online, and they are the most successful ones. So how are you going to elevate that experience is something that each industry by themselves have to you have to define. You can look at your competitors. You can also look at proxy industries. When I mean by proxy industries, I mean which industry is not your exact competitor but are so close to you that they also have, like for example, a breakfast shop can also look at a cafe. They're not the direct competitors. In a way they are, but you can also learn from them, how are they, digitally providing the best experience for their customers. And the last one that encompasses all of this together is the technology and the infrastructure that the businesses have put in to support this. So unless they're able to do this, it becomes extremely difficult. Now, like I said, I've already explained most of it. So we'll quickly run through the slide. It is mostly just an explanation of what it is. So there are 5 key areas. The first one is to truly understand your customers. So that is your customer insights, right? Like what, how, why, who, and when. So if you truly understand your customers, you can then provide the best digital experiences to your customers by therefore, elevating or transforming the business to then the sector to then move into a digital space. The next most important thing is to deliver the superior experience, like I've been repeatedly saying. Now, this is something that is very important in a way that it is to select the right marketing technology, because like I said earlier, most businesses tend to focus on all the technology, all the platforms. They say, I want to run an ad on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and they completely dilute their marketing budgets by going on all platforms. They are on all. They say, hey, most of my people are on desktop and mobile and tab, and they run ads on everything by diluting, and they're not selecting the right marketing technology. So only by understanding your customers and by providing an experience, you can understand the technology. So I'll give you an example, a real life example of how this happened. So we were in a jewelry shop. I was providing digital marketing and data analytics services for them. So they were rebuilding their website. So they brought us in for that meeting to help for me to view their website, give general feedback, and also how to put data tags to capture the data. And the data until that point showed that 99% of their customers were on mobile. Barely 1 to 5% of the visitors were on desktop. So when the website was launched, all of them quickly opened their laptops and were checking. So I was surprised. So I was sitting there saying, hey guys, why is everyone opening their laptops and desktops and checking? Because most people are 99% are coming via mobile. So therefore, how do you then quality check the website? How do you then check if the website is good? You have to check it on your mobile phones. So there was a clear disconnect when you actually could see all of them opening their eyes and going, oh yeah, that's actually correct. We should not be checking how good the website is on the desktop. We should be checking how good the website is on the mobile, because all my customers are coming from mobile. So now by not truly understanding their customers, by not giving their customers a superior experience, they have not been able to select the right marketing technology to run their advertisement, or even the business owners were truly not able to understand what was happening, because it was a in the moment. Uh, uh, it was morely a reaction, right? People said, hey, the website is live, do you guys want to check it out? I want to see how it looks. So everybody immediately opened their laptops and started checking. But if you had actually looked at the data, you would have actually understood that you need to open your mobile and check as a business owner. So by not understanding the customer, by forgetting to give the customer an experience, they have failed in even selecting the right marketing technology. The fourth is implementing processes and governance. Like I said before, you need to truly understand the process on a normal situation and in an extraordinary situation. When I mean extraordinary situation, it means in case of emergencies. It could be people driven, it could be externally driven. Like, are there processes for another COVID lockdown? What happens if everybody has to suddenly work from home? Is there a process for that? Is there a governance for that? Is there a process if you're, if the person who's designing the creative, the graphic designer is on holiday? Is there a way for somebody to, is there for your boss? What if your boss is not available on that day? Who is then giving you what to do? What creative to design? What advertisement to run? What budget to approve? Is there a process and a governance for that? So that is also something that the businesses have to look at. And this is the most important thing. It is using the best metrics to drive success. If you do not look at the data, if you can't define what a success metric is, you have already failed to kick off from the platform. The rocket has failed on launch itself. So you have built this extraordinary, machinery which can travel across planets and go all the way, but it will fail at launch because you do not have the right metrics to drive success. So wherever it goes, you will not understand, or you will not be able to define if all the effort in terms of manpower, in terms of resources, in terms of time, in terms of money that you have put in is successful. Now that we have defined the 5 Ds, now that we've understood what are the steps that we have taken to digitize the marketing efforts, how is the transformation then happening from a marketing landscape point of view? So the first one is, it has leveled the playing field. So now we are actually entering into a space where how digital marketing has helped transform the corporate sector. So how has it transformed? It has leveled the playing field, in the sense, even a business that runs and gets a revenue for 5,000, let's say 5,000 to 50,000 crores per annum, is being competed by somebody who hardly makes 5 lakhs per month, 5 lakhs per annum, or 50 lakhs per annum, because the cost to attract 100 customers is exactly the same. It's 80 rupees on Instagram. Let's just assume 80 to 100 rupees on Instagram to attract 500 people. Even for your smallest of companies, it is 80 to 100 rupees. It has completely leveled the playing field, because in Instagram the ad size is always the same. Yes, the business that runs the 5,000, 10,000 crore business can obviously go on newspapers, can obviously put it on Hotstar, obviously has a much higher marketing budget, but in a sense, to reach the customers in the upcoming generation, the playing field has been leveled. it helps you earn an impressive ROI. You before, when you ran a newspaper ad, you were not sure how many people read it, so you were not sure how many people will act on it, how many people showed interest to act on it. So there was a lot of I wouldn't say confusion, but a difficulty in trying to determine return on investment. Whereas Instagram, Facebook, or I mean, let's not name brands, but let's just say a digital marketing landscape by itself was able to completely help even the largest of players and the smallest of players earn an impressive return on investment. It has helped businesses reach people exactly where they are. I can run ads for people only in Kerala. I can run ads for people only in Maharashtra. I can run ads for people only in Assam. If when COVID was at its peak, and there were most cases in Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu and Kerala, I can run an ad, let's say for masks, or uh, uh, you know you know uh, all the other products that were that were marketed to people during the COVID era. I can run ads, especially in these three uh, uh, states. And by allowing me to reach exactly where they are, not it is again levels the playing field for all the all the players in that market. So it is a huge. So that is why the picture in the background is, I've represented this slide by putting corporates running to the finish line. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, where you are. Digital marketing has truly transformed in a sense. Now the race has become harder and tougher. It's become tougher because everybody can, and everybody should, and everybody can. It's become more difficult to reach out to a customer because the customer the time that the customer spends on the mobile phone is increasing day by day, but the amount of attention span that he has is reducing day by day. And obviously the most important thing is it allows you to track its effectiveness more easier. It was more difficult to track the effectiveness of a radio ad. It was more difficult. I mean, it was not considered difficult then. People had formulas, and but the error rate was too high. They used to say I think that anywhere between 50,000 people and 60,000 people have seen your advertisement. It was a close estimate, but it was most likely accurate. But everything was given in a band. Nothing could be taken as an exact number. But now, because of the digitalization of the marketing efforts, all businesses can exactly say, you know what, exactly 59,627 people saw my ad. You can be that accurate, plus or minus just 1 or 2 people. Now that we've talked about the transformation of the business marketing landscape, we now have to understand how has digital marketing transformed the business landscape. The most important part is it's become extremely cost effective. It was very, very expensive to run an ad on a newspaper. It was very, very difficult to run an ad on a radio because the newspaper has only so much space. Radio has only so much time. So most likely, if the radio was very popular and they were like a lot of people wanted to put ads on the radio, most likely the radio would say, hey, I'm going to increase my price so that I get only a few ads, so that I can fill my slots. The same for a newspaper as well, right? If two, three businesses want to run front page news, the only way that the newspaper can adjust all of them is to add extra front pages. I know most of you would have seen opening the Hindu or the Times of India where they have multiple front page big ads. So that was the only way they could do it. But now Instagram doesn't say to people, hey, only like 10,000 businesses can run my ad. Even 1 million businesses can run ads simultaneously to the same group of people. So by doing that, the cost to run an advertisement has become extremely low. So digital marketing has transformed the corporate sector by making ads and the digital media extremely cost effective. The next is improved customer interaction. You can now talk to your customer one-on-one. You can actually go to an Instagram chat, and if the customer says, hey, I bought a phone from you, it keeps rebooting, the device heats up, you can actually talk to your customer one-on-one. The customer need not go to the service center for you to first understand that there has been a defective product. You can find out that there's been a defective product while the customer is sitting at home. So the customer interaction for both positive and negative feedback or experiences is become more direct. It helps you generate better revenues. So how has it transformed? It has also given you a scope for the corporates to generate much higher revenues by easily reaching out to most customers and for the same budget. So for example, 10 years ago, if 5 lakhs worth of budget was able to touch so many people, reach so many people, and probably had a conversion rate say of 10-15%, the same 5 lakh rupees today is actually a very expensive marketing budget to be put online, because you can reach millions and millions of people. If you do your research, and like when I say millions of people, I hope that it implies that you are doing your right research on what platform to be in and where your customers are, all what we discussed on the previous slide. So it helps you generate much better revenues by putting in much lesser uh, budgets. Now, like I said, uh, while the while the customer interaction has improved, it also, like I said, you can also just go to Facebook or Instagram and directly leave a comment there. Most people, in frustration, usually tend to leave their feedback online. So that's why Google reviews is there, right? So if a person goes to a restaurant and say, hey, I ordered, like some starter from you or a juice from you and it was not nice, most likely on like a Zomato or a Swiggy or a Google review, you can go and respond to the customer. You can say, hey, I'm sorry that you had a bad experience with us. Please come back. We'll offer a free complimentary dish, or please bring your family back again if you're sorry. So it promotes direct interaction, and that also means an increased cost for you to put an employee there to sit and monitor all of that. Better reputation management. You now have control of where your customers are going to leave feedback. Before, it there was a slight lag. Maybe you heard that people were bad mouthing your business a few days later, but now even in a few minutes you will know what your reputation is. So better reputation management is handled by an industry or a group that they call themselves the online reputation management businesses. So they do all of the reputation management for you, and it's extremely easy to learn. I learned data analytics on 2 or 3 tools. I learned it on R, I learned it on SPSS, I learned it on Google Analytics. These were the R and SPSS were more the offline data I used to learn, and Google Analytics and Adobe Omniture Site Catalyst was something that I used. So Google Analytics, but today, if I go and type what are the best data analytics tools for capturing digital data, 100 businesses will come. Now, I will not hesitate to learn a new one, because all of them almost have the same standardized, architecture, the way the buttons are and where they are and what are the metrics that come. So the learning curve is very easy. So anybody can just learn one tool with some amount of difficulty, and then quickly switch on to other tools with quite easily. Wider reach. This is the most obvious thing, right? Like, remember I gave you the 5 lakhs experience when I was about 2-3 minutes ago. So that's what it is. The same 5 lakh marketing budget that was used 10 years ago would have reached only a certain set of people. But the 5 lakh budget today in the digital landscape is actually a phenomenal budget. If a brand comes to me and says, hey, I'm investing 5 lakhs every day, it's actually a very, very big marketing budget. I would be actually surprised. So that's how expensive, that's how easy it is to reach more people on in the digital space. But are you targeting the right people is the correct question. And better return on investment. So this is the most important thing. How is it that first capture the data? How are you capturing the data? So that you'll have to keep track. And once you define what a success metric is, you can assign the monetary value to that success, and then you have return on investment. So once you do that, you're able to, like I said, you are exactly able to capture the exact number of people who have looked at the ad or have clicked on a particular button, who have purchased a particular product. So your return on investment suddenly improves if you actually understand your customers and give them a better experience. Now, how do businesses then stay ahead of? Now we have understood. So we have walked through 3 things, right? We have walked through what are the 5 Ds of digital marketing. How should businesses then use that D to transform their industry? How has marketing then transformed the business sector and the business industry thing? But now the most important question comes. With so much competition, with so many players in every business sector, if you just open any industry, there are easily 10, 15 competitors who are sitting right next to you. So then how do you as a business stay ahead of this ever evolving curve? So first is to be highly agile and adaptable. And when I mean agile and adaptable, I mean during the pandemic. I can give you an example of how businesses thrive during the pandemic. All businesses who are quickly agile and adaptable quickly change. Now, I'll give you an example of an offline example instead of a digital marketing example. I was doing projects for a marketing manufacturing business. They were manufacturing the steel pipes and the tubes for industries. So when I was doing the project for them and the pandemic hit, obviously the manufacturing unit had to shut down. You cannot run a manufacturing unit during the pandemic. So, and obviously manufacturing industries cannot work from home because it's a physical space where you have to go there. There's huge machineries that you have to switch on and switch off. So it came completely to a halt. So obviously, they called and said, hey, we want to stop working with you for a short time till we understand what's happening. So I was completely understandable. Now, the most interesting thing that happened was when I told them, hey, how are you managing vendor payments? How are you paying they agreed to pay their staff salaries, half salary. So I said, how are you guys managing all of this? What are you guys doing? And you know what he said? He said, the minute I found out that the pandemic happened, the minute I realized that the manufacturing unit cannot take, I quickly took all the computers, all the computers for all the accounts team, finance team, admin team, and sent it to their houses. He personally paid 5,000 rupees to each employee to set up the system at home. So even when the entire country went on lockdown, even when all manufacturing plants were not able to function during the lockdown, this person's accounts team, admin team, HR, and operations head were still working to provide their employees, information, to provide their employees' salary, to manage the other bank EMIs were not payable, but they still paid. All of that they were already doing because he was so agile. And he said, you know what? Just by simply lifting the system from the accounts team and putting in their house and paying these people 5,000 rupees, I'll be able to help them continue working. Now, how is it that the digital team of all the other businesses are going to be agile and adaptable like this? In case of an external factor that pivots the business to move to another direction, how is it that you're going to be agile and adaptive? So this was the best experience, and for me it was a learning experience by myself. My mind was truly blown when I heard this story. Second is being as personalized and as direct as possible. Nowadays, customers have started saying, my experience with this product. They are so focused and so, like so, I don't think focus is the right word, but they care so much about how that product or service has had a direct experience on themselves. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve as a business, as even somebody who's doing marketing, how are you personalizing more? And how are you giving the customer more direct experience? Because the customer in his head is going me right now. Like the customer is behaving like a baby, right? A small kid who's always focused on himself or herself. The third most important way is to create content dynamically. And the best example that I can give you for this, and I think as college students and professors will most likely understand, you get a lot of these ads on I get all these ads on Instagram because I'm constantly signing up to some course. I'm doing all these free seminars. I also attend all these free seminars. So I keep getting these ads for, join this seminar and join that seminar. So you can see that the content creation has changed. How earlier content creation was done in a way where only a picture was shown. It said, hey, join this seminar, this speaker, this speaker, this speaker. Then somebody started talking. They said, there was a person with showing their hands all over the screen and saying, join this seminar, and it's only this much, an early bird offer and all of this. Now they've gone to even better. They've managed to get clippings from the speakers themselves before, introducing them. So the content creation itself has been dynamic for seminars. People are each seminar, business is trying to outdo each other to get more and more people to sign up in the digital space. So then for each business, you have to think, how is it that I, as a business, create content in a dynamic form to attract more users? And the last one is constant evolution. Constant evolution is there are new technologies that are coming on board. There are new ways to reach out to new customers. Like for example, 5 years ago, people never advertised on OTT platforms. Today, if you don't advertise on an OTT platform, you're most likely losing out on a million customers very easily. So you have to constantly evolve yourself to reach out to the right customers in the right way. So now that I've spoken so much and it can be a little overwhelming, let me just summarize all the points that I've spoken. The first thing, how has digital marketing transformed the corporate sector? The first summary is that there is no difference between a large organization and a startup in their marketing efforts. Only the budgets change. The large organization can afford to put close to 3 to 4 lakhs in their marketing budget. A small organization will put only 20 to 30,000 per month. Even though the budgets are different, only the budgets change. The platforms, even a small, like those days, you needed a certain amount of budget to put up an ad in a newspaper. Here, in Instagram, you can reach up to 200, 300 people by just putting 80 rupees. You can just put up 100 rupees. There is no minimum. There is a minimum, but the minimum budget is so low that it actually truly doesn't matter. It's easy to learn, but the evolving technology in the digital space is ever evolving. So it's become extremely easy for people for competitors to then jump into your space. So there is actually no way of saying like, hey, if I do something different, that I will be able to capture the set of sales, because all your customers are also looking at you. So the competition has become more fierce. There is a huge priority now to address customer needs on a one-to-one basis, because now customers can directly leave a feedback on an Instagram account, your Instagram account. The customers can directly DM you. The customers can directly go to a Google review and say, hey, I didn't have a good experience, or I had a good experience. A customer can directly go to a Google store or a Play Store and say, hey, I downloaded your application, but it refused to open. It keeps saying get an OTP, but I'm not getting an OTP. So the customer is then prioritized on a one-to-one basis. So that is how digital marketing has changed the corporate sector also in terms of addressing your customer needs. Most auxiliary services now become obvious services. Now this is very important. This is where I want to spend more time on this slide. When I say most auxiliary services become an obvious service, the best way for me to give you an example is a car. In those days, when you bought a car, you paid extra for the automatic window. So you pressed a button and the window came down. You lifted the button and the window went up. It was an auxiliary service. You paid little for it. Or those days you had the crank, right? You twisted the window thing and the window went up. Nowadays, any car you buy, whether it's a 1 lakh Tata Nano car or a 5 crore Maybach or a whatever BMW Benz, those cars, all of them come with the button window. You cannot go into the market and say, hey, you know what, pay an extra 5,000 rupees for the window thing. Those days it was an auxiliary service. Nowadays it's an obvious service. It's an obvious service in the sense the job of the car is only to take you from point A to point B. The window has nothing to do with it. Yes, you can still have a crank, but customers are saying, even though the car is only meant to take me from here to there, I will not buy any car that does not come with a button window. So that is how most auxiliary services now have become an obvious service in most industries. So customers are saying, I do understand that if I go to a salon, let's say I'm going to a salon to get a haircut. My most important aspect is to get a haircut. My customer says, if the salon does not have a GPay or a Paytm or a UPI service, I'm not going to go there again, even though my haircut was excellent. So auxiliary services have now become an obvious service in the sense all salons now need to have a GPay service, because the experience of the customer the billing experience is become very important for the customer itself. So customer TAT has become fewer than 10 minutes. Customer TAT is nothing but turn around time. If a customer goes online and complains about you, he expects a reply in 10 minutes. If a customer goes anywhere for a product or service and he gives a positive or a negative feedback, you need to be able to reach out to him in under 10 minutes. Companies that adapt themselves generally tend to move ahead much quicker. So, like I said, being agile and adaptive is extremely important. Earlier, uh, if you said how, like for example, how has digital marketing transformed the corporate sector? It has transformed in such a way that if you have to be extremely on your toes most days, you have to be able, you have to be agile and adaptable very quickly. Earlier, maybe you could wait a week, a month to make a change. Nowadays, if you don't make a change in a week, you could lose out on a huge spike of customers. When Vodafone and Hutch came out with that puppy ad, he follows wherever we go. That ad became so famous that most people were switching to the Vodafone and Hutch service without even realizing that the most the phone SIM card company, the most important thing is how good quality the phone calls are. And most other brands lost out on this one. So I think that was Hutch. Then Vodafone came up with the Zuzu ad as a competition. So that became very famous. Then the other companies came up with the other ads. So you have to be able to quickly understand where you're getting targeted from. Is my competition running a better advertisement? Is my customer having some certain issues? So you need to be able to be adaptable more faster than when you are doing regular marketing. And the most important thing is that the first mover advantage is almost negligible. In a sense, first mover advantage is if somebody moves into a space for the first time, they have an advantage for 6 months because customers realize that only that particular person is providing that service. But nowadays, first mover advantage is almost negligible because anybody can start a business from anywhere with very minimum startup, because the ability to reach the customers has become so easy that the barrier to entry for businesses that are not based on the fixed cost model are very easy. Like for example, I mean fixed cost model. If you want to run a movie theater, then you need to put up a screen. You need to provide the infrastructure first. But if you're just providing, say, let's say counseling for engineering students, you don't need to set up a classroom and a computer and everything. You can do the counseling from home itself. So the first mover advantage for, say, counseling companies, or people who provide, say, counseling for engineering, has become almost negligible now. If you do something extraordinarily good and attract a few people for the first, within a week your competitors have already done it. So the competition has become extremely tough. I think I'm done with my thing. So can we open Q&A? Any questions? I hope it was a good session. I sort of broke it down into like 3-4 different aspects and tried to attack most of the aspects in a more detailed manner.
Thank you, sir, for your informative session. No duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. May I call upon Dr. Rekha Madam, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to propose the vote of thanks.
and gratitude to our reaching this energetic and entrepreneur. Happy to have an Indian personality like you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, sir, and giving us a gracious information about the role of digital marketing in reshaping the corporate sector. Thank you, sir. It enables us to acquire knowledge about digital transformation. And thank you for sharing your real-time experience with us, sir. Thank you, sir. Attending my official thanks to Dr. R. Gayatri, Head of Department of Commerce, all the faculty members and the former for the constant support. I also express my special thanks to communities from various colleges and from various universities. I convey my heartfelt thanks to all the staff coordinators and student coordinators. They make this session a successful one. Once again, thank you all.
But thank you, Kundu. Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Muskan. Thank you. Can you hear me?
हो गया क्या बोलूं इसको बाय बोलूं क्या अभी बस चला गया